Okay, so this is a little bit of a fun one. Let's make a quick dissolve shader, okay? So first off, we're gonna need a noise, and then we're going to need the world position of the pixel that we're looking at. Okay, now what we want to do is expose a scalar and multiply that times the position. So we're going to take a scalar parameter called noise scale, which set it to 1 for now, and multiply it by a really small number like 0.001. This is because the noise texture is going to be kind of, it needs to be scaled down. It needs to be scaled by that to make it look visually nice. As you can see, we're getting a large noise. And then with this value here, we can change it in the editor. Next, we're going to need to get a sphere mask. Okay. We're going to multiply that times another scalar called radius. And this will be the size of our dissolve. Plug that into the radius. We're going to plug 0 into the hardness. We're going to go transform position to convert and create a vector parameter, which is going to just be the position of the hole that we're going to cut in the character. And another thing that I forgot to do real quick is, and I just noticed that I made a little bit of a typo there. We need to multiply the noise output right here that we have by something called noise influence, and this will allow us to make the outer ring of the burn be a little bit more chaotic or less chaotic based on visual desire. Then we were going to drag out a subtract node. Subtract. We're going to subtract this from our radius. Just plug that into the radius now. And we should be very close to done. Next, we need to get another world position node. I'm going to move all this over. And we can put a comment around this for sphere hole mask. And I'm going to paste in some nodes and go over those real quick. We'll reconnect them up. So what we need to do is bring out a couple of parameters. We're going to call this edge and we're going to call this cutoff. Edge and cutoff need to add to each other and connect to a step node into the X value. Then into the Y value, we're going to want a sphere mask. Next, we'll take the cutoff value and do it into another step node and repeat the same thing with the sphere mask connecting to the Y value. Next, we'll take and do a 1- on the upper step node that came from the edge and the cutoff, and we'll multiply that times a color. We can expose that as a parameter, and this is just going to be the glow of the burning edge. Multiply that times our 1- here, and put it into the emissive color. And you can blend it with your base color, but for now we're just going to do emissive because it's simpler, less instructions. Now, this needs to be a masked material. That's important because we're going to cut a hole. Now our bottom step that just comes from the cutoff is going to it's going to take out the actual visibility. Put that into the opacity mask and we should be pretty much done. Apply that shader, create a material instance, and we'll drag that onto our two actors here while it's compiling. Okay, I'm going to save that. If you notice, already, our man here is missing part of his legs. Now if we take our edge, it needs to be a negative value. So we might want to, we could just flip this in the material, but really it doesn't hurt to put in a negative. It's fine. Okay, and we can now start playing with the radius of it and cutting the hole. Now, you might want to move the position, which is this right here. It's going to be in local space. We can move that up. Move it to about 64, 128. That's good in the middle. Okay, and so this could be a death effect. This could be a you know, maybe spawn in like this. Really whatever you want to do with it. Now right now it's looking very, very clean. And we can take the noise influence, right? We start driving that up. And we can bring the noise scale. We start bringing that up too. And if you notice, we're starting to get this nice crackly effect, which looks very cool. And as we spread out, you see we get a nice dissolve. Now, this could also be a texture if you don't want to use the noise node, because the noise node does come with its own set of costs. And so you can use a texture for your displacement here, or not displacement, for your destruction shape. But yeah, you can do whatever you want. Really, it's a good basis. Now, when the character animates, this will look strange, so this would probably need to be done a little bit different if it was going to be persistently on the character. But like for a quick effect, it really won't make much of a difference. You could also do that position in world space, but I like local space because it's easier to debug. But yeah, you can play around with it and really get a cool look for, you know, a very little amount of shader. So yeah, play around with it, see what you can do with it. I'll try to upload this somewhere if you just want to bring it into the project. Highly recommend breaking down exactly how it goes together, and you know, don't be afraid to debug it and edit things. It's a whole lot of fun.